This is the Padua Podcast Network.
Wow. But those rocks are loose, man.
Running a Fever, episode 155, Mount Nebo State Park, part 1.
Well, this is kind of weird because it's really quiet here. I'm at Mount Nebo State Park near Dardanelle, Arkansas. And I've been here since last night, about 24 hours. And these are the first words I've spoken since then, since I left the visitor center on my way in. But I wanted to, it seems so quiet here, that's another thing. I'm sure there's a highway off in the distance somewhere, but it's been the wonderful thing about being here. Walking on what's called the Rim Trail. The Rim Trail of Mount Nebo State Park. And it's the most popular trail. Goes around with some apparently panoramic views we're supposed to have here. I've timed this. It's actually kind of warm earlier today, and I've tried to time this. So about sunset, I will wind up at a place called Sunset Point, which, as the name implies, it's supposed to be the best place to watch the sunset. Really quiet, I just hear birds. I took this, I'm taking a vacation. I'm on vacation right now. I rented a cabin here at the park for the week, which isn't that difficult. This is called the Rim Trail. It goes all around the park. It's mostly trees now, but we get to the promised panoramic views. Certainly turn the camera around and get some good shots at that. Nice little stone bridge over a little brook or creek. Hopefully I'm on the right path. I see red and yellow blazes. I think I'm supposed to be on the yellow blaze. Anyway, it's a good time of year to come here because temperature is really nice. I mean, early today it was warmer, probably in the high 70s. And then I decided to take my walk in the late afternoon and again, hopefully reach Sunset Point by sunset. And on the way, I'll go by Sunrise Point on the other end of the mountain, Mount Nebo, by the way. Pretty nice trail. It's supposed to be moderate difficulty. It's another one of these built by the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the 1930s. And the cabin I'm staying in is on some kind of national register. I think it's the National Register of Historic Places. Looking at these great panoramic views of some kind of plateau over there, kind of a flat mountain, and back behind it, the river valley, as they call it. Behind me are cabins, and like I was saying, I'm staying in this cabin, and all of these that were built in the 1930s by otherwise unemployed men hired by the government. They're all historic sites on some national register thereof. But although they're all nice old stone construction, they are full of all the modern conveniences inside. Really hoping for a fireplace because I really like fires. It turns out the fireplaces are locked in the summertime, which starts the last week of April apparently. They just locked them up, and there's literally a lock on the fireplace. But I started out about 5:30, a little after 5:40 maybe, and this trail is supposed to be a little over 2 hours long. And then sunset is at about 8 o'clock. There's a trail sign-in log. So it's a historic and beautiful trail. And one of the things the nice workers built for us is these steps that make it a little bit easier to go up and down various inclines along the trail. I'm just going to keep cruising along. Don't want to be late for sunset. Anyway, like I was saying, it was really sort of high 70s earlier, and now it's very pleasant. I'm not sure exactly what temperature it is. I know that it didn't get up to 76 inside the cabin today. Focusing this week on not just relaxing, but doing what I really have a passion for, and that is reading and writing. And so I'm hoping that it'll be great for my mental and emotional fitness. A nice view along here. Not sure what mountain that is. Some nice birds flying overhead. Meanwhile, just some gorgeous views. And I think I'll snap a few still shots here while I'm at it. All right, we're heading up to Sunrise Point. I mean, you just have to get out and take in a broad perspective of God's creation. It's just really hard to deny when you come into contact with things that human beings couldn't possibly have formed. Even if they had the power of creation, how could they make such things? I don't know. Just take pleasure in beauty, great beauty. First time I've ever set foot here, and I'm really enjoying it. And despite my ability to talk endlessly to people in a recorded format, I really cherish the solitude. And it's not complete solitude. There are certainly neighbors. One of the sort of interesting things, I don't know if it's true in other areas, but at this particular state park, there are private homes interspersed throughout the park. Private homes in the park. And you could actually buy a house with one of these spectacular views right in the park. Apparently a lot of this land was taken over by the government when taxes came due. As you know, the 30s were the Great Depression, and a lot of people lost a lot of their property, and it's perhaps a sad state of affairs that the government profited from all that misery. But because of that, we have this state park, and there were, of course, people who were able to pay their taxes, and those people still had private property even when the park was built, and that has been maintained to this day through inheritance and sales if the state decided it didn't want to buy the property. Apparently they have right of first refusal. I'm not sure. That's what it sounds like. I don't see anybody here. I see some cars parked, but nobody is up here enjoying this with me. I feel a little bit overdressed because it's kind of warm on these rocks right now. Over here we have Lake Dardanelle. Thousands of acres of water there. The river valley. All in one amazing view. Probably spend an entire day photographing here, and I'll probably come out here at sunset one of these days. I'm here for 4 days. But I got a schedule to keep. Sunset is coming up. So I'm gonna keep on moving, like the song says. Don't stop. So saying reading and writing, and I certainly try to do plenty of that in my regular work week, but can't always do it the way I want to do it. Try to take a Sunday and just read all day. Kind of a slow reader. Can only read maybe 25 pages an hour or something like that, depending on what I'm reading. So as you can imagine, it takes me a while finished anything. So yeah, it's a little cooler now. I've got a little bit of shade on the ground. So last night I read one of my favorite authors, William Faulkner, in his book called Sanctuary. This is another of his horrific tales. One of his specialties, horrific tales. Not exactly peaceful pastoral settings. Compare him to Flannery O'Connor, who's a little more pastoral than she is. And oh yeah, the nuclear power plant. Can you see that? It's only one way in and out of here, but it's well marked as the nuclear disaster escape route. So if we have a radiological incident at the power plant, then we'll know where to go, the only way out. It's a very steep, winding road. Speed limit marked as 10 miles an hour. So as you can see, well, fortunate that there's not many people here this week. At least it doesn't seem like a lot of people. Although, could be full occupancy. The cabin next to mine was taken. And like I said, there are people that live up here in their houses. I saw one house for sale, actually, up here. I don't know what kind of view it had, but definitely a house for sale up here. This isn't the highest point in Arkansas, but I'm making it my point to go to the highest point in Arkansas, maybe next. I'm intending to do that in short order. And that is Mount Magazine. But not today. Today, we're on Mount Nebo. Strenuous. Okay, the strenuous part is starting now. Anyway, it says strenuous. Well, my new Tom's hiking boots are doing pretty well today. Got a good grip, got a good ankle support, everything hiking boots are supposed to do. Much better than the Brooks Adrenaline running shoes that I was wearing the last time I went hiking, which are great for running and even walking. They're not so bad, but not built for hiking. That's why it's good to have the right tool for the job. And it's a safety issue. It's not just, style. I got my hiking boots, but they're really grippy on the bottom and in a different way. Running shoes, walking shoes are really meant for flat terrain. You wouldn't even call it terrain. It's just there's some pretty steep stuff there. All right, that was a steep part, but it's we're flapping a little bit now, or flattening. So they call this the rim trail, and it's, the Mount Nebo, I guess, is a really big kind of oblong mountain like the one that on the other side. So at one end is a nice place to watch sunrise, the other end is a nice place to watch sunset. And then you've got these trails that go all the way around. Built by the Civilian Conservation Corps back in the Depression years, but also some natural features. They have this thing, I don't know, they call it a shelf, I think, because that's kind of what it is. It's a big shelf. It goes all the way around the mountain, like 15, 20 feet. Sticks out, which is perfect for hiking or even a road. I got the feeling since I'm going down that I'm going to have to go up again later on before I get to sunrise or sunset point. I was sweating quite a bit. Didn't bring any water. It's not what I'd call hot weather, but hopefully it'll cool down. It's supposed to be 10 degrees higher up, or cooler up here. And I see a little yellow blaze, which is good. Means I'm still on the rim trail. There are other trails that sort of branch off from this one or go down to a specific thing like a creek or whatnot. There are other trails. There are longer ones and shorter ones. Easier ones and less easy ones. And one of them is that, actually they don't call it shelf, they call it a bench. So it's the bench trail. But it's the same thing. It's about 15, 20 feet. And the reason is the rock there is just harder than the rest of the mountain. And the rock above it has kind of fallen off, leaving this kind of a bench all the way around the mountain. So just perfect. I don't know who chose it or how they chose it back in the 1930s. But somehow they were able to. And we're on an incline here, about a 20, 30 degree, about a 25 degree, I think. So yeah, I'm wearing my long sleeve shirt and long pants. You have shorts and short sleeves, but expected it to be cool and not be as strenuous. Oh yeah. Well, it's another lovely panoramic view. So trying hard not to drop my gear down the mountain as my backpack has come open again. You can no longer see the nuclear plant. We can see for miles and miles and miles. Valley and the mountains in the distance. Yeah, this is strenuous, all right. You shouldn't make this trail if you're in any way ambulatorially challenged. You can't take high steps, do a little jumping here and there on different levels. It's definitely not a straight, smooth path for anybody. There's just no way to get through here without just climbing over some rocks. The good thing about this trail is that it goes right by my cabin. So I don't have to drive anywhere to park. I just have to go out my back door or front door, depending on your perspective. There's no door facing the road, as it were, which perhaps makes sense given the time in which it was built. And I go left for sunset and right for sunrise. No, yeah, left for sunset. And I've already passed sunrise, so should be steadily on my way to Sunset's Point. And it's only 6:30. So, of course, I don't know. I guess I was about a third of the way down, so if that's taken me an hour to do that, then I don't know, probably about right on time. I probably shouldn't slow down or speed up. Now I'm looking down a power line easement swath through the trees that goes for miles up the mountain and down the mountain through the valley. Nothing stops electrical power, which, by the way, we have plenty of. I've got plenty of that in my room. They've got a clock, even hair dryer. They've got a hair dryer provided if I ever needed a hair dryer. Electric stove, oven, microwave, refrigerator. It's really got everything you need. You just have to kind of bring food. Got the last view of the valley there before we're going into some real shady part. And I can hear cars now. You can probably hear them too, loud enough. In the cabin, I don't hear cars. Now, if I go outside, I do hear this kind of whining noise, which is kind of annoying. I don't know what it is, if it's some kind of power thing, I don't know. But so I don't spend that much time outside. It was really nice weather, so I have been out there reading while the charcoal was heating up for my lunch and last night's dinner. So yeah, last night I spent reading. I got about, 40%, not quite halfway through the book. And then this morning I wrote for about 4 hours. And there's a cave spring. One serves as a source of drinking water for the residents of Mount Nebo. It's pretty much at a trickle now, but I guess 24/7 it may provide enough water for those that live up here. Not now, probably. Maybe in the time before water was used for things other than drinking, cooking, and bathing at least once a day. So about 4 hours of writing is about all I do in a day, unless it's a different kind of writing. And the introduction to the book is written by Faulkner himself in 1930 something, I guess. And it's hilarious because he just talks. It's a trick because I just wrote it for money, and he goes on and rambles about that for a couple of pages. So it's really funny, but he really, he wasn't always a hugely successful writer. So high that the trees look like matchsticks down there with little green match heads on them. Anyway, at the time, Faulkner was working as a, not even a fireman. I don't know what his official job was, but he carried wheelbarrows of coal. Obviously not in the days of nuclear power like we have up here, but in the days of coal power, and there's still coal power plants, but I'm sure they don't have people shoveling coal. But back in the day, that's what he did. And around about midnight, there wasn't a demand as much for power. And so it wasn't as hard to keep the big turbines going. And so they didn't really have much to do until about 4 a.m. when they had to start providing power for the people who were going to be waking up as I cross another stream here.